Hey folks, Carl Kishel here, and welcome to another edition of the Microsoft Cloud News Update, researching the cloud blogs so you don't have to. This week, we're going to talk about new approval in Microsoft Teams that's now available, how to have safe online meetings with Teams, some productivity hacks for frontline workers, and talk about office hours that are now available for Windows 10 and focusing on Windows 10 deployment, and give you some information on doing a deep dive on the whole Solorigate issue and compromise. So sit back, let's jump right into them. Approvals in Microsoft Teams now available. So this has been in preview for a while, now available in the Teams app, and allows you to create an approval workflow based on assignments, files, and other different types of artifacts. So for example, if you wanted to make some changes to a document or have approval on document creation, modification, etc., you can wrap that flow of opening up the document and sharing it with other people into an approval via the approval app. And this allows you to maintain tracking on, yes, you can have access to this file, or I do approve of these changes, or I approve of the contents of the app, document, etc. And it's a neat way to create workflow in a very easy to use way within Microsoft Teams. So check out the link for more info. Here are some tips for having safe online meetings with Microsoft Teams. There are about 7 or 8 tips here, and some of them are fairly straightforward. Some of them rely on some new features that were introduced in Teams recently, so you may or may not be familiar with these changes. But the post goes through all the tips. The first one here is controlling who can join your Microsoft Teams meeting directly and present. So these provide you with some new controls via the meeting creation. And I'm just going to do some highlights here, and you can read more about them by clicking on the blog post link. Tip number 2, how to minimize team disruptions by muting individuals or all meeting attendance. And determining who can present is tip number 3, or share their screen or content in Teams. Some of the more useful ones I thought were really cool is tip number 4 here, ending your Teams meeting for everyone in attendance. So it used to be the case where if the organizer or someone ended the meeting, that meeting could still persist with the participants carrying on with the meeting moving forward and still having this little collaboration area. That may not be such a big deal for internal participants, but for external participants, you may not want to provide that forum without any kind of moderation or supervision. So I think tip number 4 is really handy in kind of locking down your meetings. Tip number 5 is around using sensitivity labels to increase security within a team. Of course, tip number 6, creating private channels and locking down the team contents to specific channel and making that private. And last but not least here, tip number 8, protecting data within Teams. So this gets into some of the support that Microsoft Teams has for data protection policies within your organization. And in this example, if someone were to try to type in a credit card number in chat, if you have a data protection policy around that, the protection policy would capture that and block that person from sharing credit card number. Could also be social security number formats, etc. So definitely check out this link for more tips, ideas, and the details on how to have more secure Teams meetings. Here are some productivity hacks for frontline workers, managers, and IT using Team on various devices. So there are about 7 or 8 different tips here, all from using task publishing and some of the newer task capabilities within Teams. And again, I'm just going to scroll through this, and I want to highlight the 2 last ones for a moment or two. Using SMS for sign-in, at mentioning groups delegation of user management using the My Staff portal, using the Power Platform, etc. So you can go through some of the details. The ones I did want to call out a little bit further is the sixth tip here, using policy packages. A lot of you may not be aware, but policy packages are predefined packages that you can apply to your team's policy at the admin level to quickly get up and running without having to go through all the different policy options. And there are a couple of different policy packages based on the type of workforce, worker, and other user types that you can support within your environment. So definitely click on the link to learn more about policy packages. Team templates is another one. And then get a lot of questions here and there about managing shared devices with Endpoint Manager, formerly known as Intune. So with Endpoint Manager and leveraging the capabilities of Microsoft Endpoint Manager to manage shared devices as opposed to devices that are assigned one-to-one is fairly helpful to have. So definitely click on the link to learn more information on the shared device capabilities. Some office hours here for managing Windows 10 devices and updates. I thought this link would be helpful for those who want to drop in and engage with Microsoft engineering architects to discuss various maybe issues or questions you might have regarding Windows 10 devices, managing updates, etc. So for the remainder of January, February, March, April, right through the end of our fiscal year, which ends the end of June, there's an opportunity once a month to participate in these office hours that the product group is hosting. So check out the link for more info and how to add these events to your calendar. Diving deep into the Solorigate issue and infiltration. So this is something that's been happening since December, when all the discoveries around SolarWinds, FireEye, etc., around the whole Solorigate infiltration and attack. So this blog post I thought was pretty interesting for those who want to dive deeper into how these bad actors got into these systems and the methods and compromises they were able to exploit. And pretty interesting read for those who want the more details. And much like, I should say, much unlike other bad actors or issues that have happened in the past, this was very, very sophisticated, and just the ability to mimic some of the file names, locations, and structures to corrupt system files and to circumvent existing systems to sniff out these infiltrations is pretty interesting. So definitely read through the article. And then more importantly, there is some guidance here towards the bottom on how to leverage your existing Microsoft technology, such as Defender and Sentinel. Defender, a lot of folks might have access to 365 Defender and the suite of Defender through existing licensing. So definitely click on the link here to learn more about how to activate, or even if anything else, just jump into the trial and try the Defender platform of security. Azure Sentinel is part of the Azure Cloud, and that is the cloud-based SIEM solution. And that's also something that can help you understand more about bad actors, activities, etc., that are happening within your environment holistically, kind of both inside and beyond the Microsoft ecosystem. So definitely check out this link for more information on the deep dive on Solorigate. And to round things out, we have two quick updates regarding Azure. So the first is this update regarding Azure Managed Disks and Azure Backup, and support for Azure Managed Disk now being in limited preview. And this capability is all about using incremental snapshots within Azure Backup for Azure Managed Disks. So this gets into the specifics around the key benefits of an Azure Disk Backup and some useful use cases on leveraging the platform for managed disks. So again, something in preview. Check out the link for more info. Last but not least, some updates to Azure Site Recovery. And this is a rollup update number 53, now available for this month, January 2021. And there's some details here. Click on the link for all the specifics on the enhancements of the updates. Just by doing some research on this, there are some significant performance improvements regarding the support for VMware virtual machines and the Site Recovery mobility agent. So if you are using Azure Site Recovery or have an interest in ASR, definitely check this out, and definitely check out this update for increased performance. And that's the end of this session, the Microsoft Cloud News Update. Thank you so much for joining us this week. If you like this video, please click on the thumbs up. Please also click on subscribe. For future notifications, click on the bell so we can let you know when our next update. We usually do these on a weekly basis. Again, if you have any feedback, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, Twitter, send me an email, etc. So thanks again for spending some time this week with us, and we'll catch you next time. Take care.